Always with the UK elect to keep the Europe Association in 2016, Switzerland has been thoroughly observer Brexit transactions. The transactions, or maybe no transactions, affected among the UK and the EU will be considerable to non-EU term Switzerland. And it cannot go rapidly quite for the Switzerland. This watch is tick, size January AT&T's lander of the Switzerland Industry Associate Economy Swiss. We are concerned, order now the rules are precise, we can trading in the UK yet now we are upcoming to a angle, at the end of March, and no one can speak us if down there will be a Brexit transactions or no. March is key since the UK is planned to keep the EU at 11 p.m. UK period on Friday, March 29, 2019. But hover on a min, why on land should Switzerland, that never united the EU, be concerned on the statute of its trading bonds in the UK, that is on to keep? The cause put in Switzerland's own complex duplex deals in Brussels, agreed above too many decades, following the Switzerland solved in 1992 not to accede the EU. Now the 28-term EU bloc is Switzerland's largest trade affiliate by distant, and the UK, for currently, is portion of how. This shut economical relations among Switzerland and the UK are relying on the duplex agreements among Switzerland and the EU, explains Ivo Zimmermann, who represents the Switzerland car instrument production. So following Brexit these agreements will stop to use. Switzerland's car instrument segment, that makes all of industry drills to machines how can make automobile components, sold out nearly Switzerland francs, dollar, pound to BN, of consumer goods in the UK recent year. How is and some of supply how Mr. Zimmermann and his associate Dong T wish to see changing, besides above. Certainly later, the prudent Switzerland include already painted up a new trading transactions in their UK partners? In fact no, lot to the disappointment of Haig Simonian, who is defect president of the UK Switzerland Camera of Trade. Britain's hands are connected, since by the location in the EU, it can just begin operating, providing new trading deals in non-EU nations, while it is no much longer a term, he says, as, formally at low, all is iced. The tool how the Switzerland cannot safe their own trading, customs officer, or motion of human beings agreements in the UK before the UK and the EU include soldered their own consent. While the UK by the government announced its planned Brexit transactions recent 1 week, down there was a short feeling of ease in Switzerland. But the audio and rage how later came of all policy parties in the building of House of Commons quickly ended how. Or, time by the government ministers in 27 EU capitals are student how offered departure treaty, desks in the Switzerland equity burn are naked. It is an uncomfortable stance for UK Swiss trading bonds to be in. The two countries are amongst every some's greatest trade partners, and include enjoyed steady economical bonds for year. This reality is, any type of ambiguity is venom for industry, for invest, for any kind of decisions, says Mr. Simonian. The Switzerland by the government has go up in a policy to minimize ambiguity, fancifully named reason the space. The concept is to try to hinder a regulating vacuum in the UK should the end of March come and a departure transactions in the EU has yet not been coordinated. Indicating out the shut bonds Switzerland and the UK include, consisting 150 straight air transportation a day, Switzerland by the government ministers include been beaten away to London for the recent 2 year. Not for formal talks of year, but for unofficial negotiations. And rumor has it how things include been departure so. While the UK Overseas Secretary Jeremy Search pay a trip to Bern recent monthly he said journalists it had been an great trip, although he rejected to reply any questions on which precisely was debated. January AT&T's lander confesses how he and his associate in Switzerland industry are eyeing several opportunities in a position EU-UK. This UK has a top technology production, in industry consumer goods, in processing, and the car production has advanced really firmly, he says. As well in pharmaceutical, the chemistry production is very top groove, it's a nature affiliate, since we are as well innovate relying. Mr. Simonian too sees openings for more trading, although no, interestingly, in finance services, a segment in that both of countries are already really powerful. In the end, they are really profound competitive environment in the planet of financial, so I would be careful on how frontline, he says. Taking into account how all the bonds among the UK and Switzerland will include to be overwritten, the Switzerland could in theoretical opt for several type of customs officer location in the UK, if is not in the EU Customs Officer Association. It could though maybe support liberty of motion in the UK. This Switzerland signed up to EU complementary motion year ago in procedure to profit accessing to the solitary marketplace, if the UK thinks it might be cost suspended on to complementary motion in Switzerland 1. But no of these options can be correctly coordinated, let one put in location, before the UK and the EU complete their transactions. So are the Switzerland sure on the next? Sure might be the incorrect speech, says Mr. Zimmerman. We aware how the Switzerland by the government is making all to provide a sleek changing, but down there are yet lot of uncertainties. The end of March is 4 persons months off, not a length period to overwrite trading relations, as the outwardly infinite talks among the EU and the UK include tested. The Switzerland don't love recent min decisions, and they don't love intermittent. But for currently, they will just include to look, and expect.